Day 89. In the midst of numerous torn missing persons flyers, a family moves cautiously, barefoot, through an abandoned store in a ghost town. Evelyn Abbott carefully searches a cluster of uncollected prescription bottles for her sick son Marcus. She gives him medication and uses sign language to reassure her deaf daughter Regan that her brother is fine. Regan checks on her younger brother Beau, who is drawing a rocket on the floor. Beau signs to Regan, expressing their plan to escape using a rocket. He climbs the nearly empty shelves to reach a space shuttle toy, but it falls. Regan manages to catch it before it hits the ground. Meanwhile, Lee Abbott finds electronics for a radio and cutting pliers for Regan. Evelyn signals to the family that darkness is approaching, and they prepare to leave. The Abbotts silently make their way back home, leaving a trail of sand behind them. While crossing a walking bridge, they suddenly hear the sound of the space shuttle toy from Beau, who is at the back. Lee races back toward his son in horror, but it's too late. An alien creature seizes and kills Beau. Day 472. The Abbotts are on their family farm. Lee has set up an extensive surveillance system in the basement, in hopes of contacting other survivors. There are news clippings about an alien invasion and notes from Lee about the aliens' weaknesses. Evelyn hangs a mobile she has crafted in the cellar and prepares an oxygen tank and breathing mask for the upcoming birth of her baby. Lee is on the top of a grain silo, looking at pictures of Beau. Regan and Marcus play Monopoly, and Marcus accidentally knocks over a lantern. Lee extinguishes the fire, and they anxiously wait for the consequences. Just when it seems they have escaped trouble, they hear a loud noise on the roof. Lee looks out the window and is startled but relieved to see a raccoon falling from the roof. He goes down to the basement to work on a cochlear implant processor for Regan. Day 473. While Lee pours sand on their walking paths, Evelyn checks her blood pressure in the cellar. Her due date is approaching. She listens to her baby's strong heartbeat using a stethoscope. Regan enters the house, carefully walking only on the marked parts of the floor to avoid making noise. She wants to go down to the basement, but her father stops her. Lee has added small amplifiers to Regan's new cochlear implant processor, but Regan doesn't believe they will work. Disheartened, Lee hands them to her, and he sets out on an excursion. Marcus is scared and refuses to join him, while Regan wants to go. However, Lee tells Regan to stay and take care of her mom. Regan packs a bag, including her cutting pliers and a wrapped object from her dresser, then leaves the farm. Lee takes Marcus to the river, where he teaches him that making small sounds is permissible as long as louder sounds are present. They can speak freely next to a waterfall without fear of being heard. Meanwhile, Regan arrives at the walking bridge, which now has a makeshift memorial for Beau. She unwraps the object from her dresser, revealing the space shuttle toy, and uses her pliers to silence it. Back home, Evelyn carries a laundry bag from the basement when it gets snagged on the stairs. She frees it but accidentally exposes a protruding nail. On their way back home, Lee and Marcus encounter an old man emerging from the woods and discover the dead body of his wife nearby. Lee urges the man to remain silent, but he lets out a primal scream. Lee grabs Marcus and runs, but the man is swiftly captured and killed by an alien. Back home, Evelyn's water breaks. She heads down to the basement, impaling her foot on the exposed nail. Suppressing a scream, she drops the picture frames she was holding, attracting an alien into the house. Evelyn switches on the red warning lights surrounding the property, and searches for a mechanical kitchen timer. The alien slowly descends the stairs into the basement, listening for signs of life. When the timer goes off, the alien attacks it, giving Evelyn the opportunity to escape upstairs. She spots another alien in the front yard, enters the bathroom, and sinks into the tub. She goes into labor as the alien approaches. Lee returns home, and signs the word, "rocket," to Marcus, indicating their plan. Armed with a shotgun, Lee sees Marcus lighting a fuse in a designated area, setting off a series of fireworks. Lee searches the house and enters the bathroom, where he finds an empty bathtub covered in his wife's blood. He discovers that Evelyn is safe and hiding in the shower with their newborn baby boy. Meanwhile, Marcus hears an alien while walking back to the house. He runs into a tractor wheel, knocking himself unconscious. Regan returns home and sees Marcus's flashlight beam coming from the cornfield but is unaware of the approaching alien behind her. As the alien draws nearer, Regan's cochlear implant processor produces a high-pitched feedback that distresses the creature and makes it retreat. Regan finds Marcus and they seek refuge on top of the grain silo. Lee takes Evelyn to the cellar and places their newborn son in the soundproof crib. Evelyn reflects on Bo and regrets not carrying him on the fateful day. Before getting some much-needed sleep, she makes Lee promise to protect their children. Lee sets out to find the kids, and water begins to flood the cellar. Later, Evelyn wakes up to find the cellar flooded. To make matters worse, an alien descends into the room, and the baby's crib is open. Carefully, Evelyn picks up her baby and hides behind the waterfall, flooding the room. A hatch on the silo breaks, causing Marcus to fall inside. As he slowly drowns in the grain, the alien in the cellar with Evelyn is drawn out by the noise. The hatch completely breaks away and narrowly misses Marcus as it falls into the silo. Regan jumps into the silo and successfully saves her brother by pushing the hatch toward him, allowing him to grab hold of it. However, she herself starts sinking into the grain. Marcus climbs onto the hatch and pulls his sister to safety. Both sit safely on top of the silo door, but then they hear a crash on the silo's top. The alien from the flooded cellar jumps into the silo as the kids cover themselves with the hatch door. They seem doomed until Regan's cochlear implant processor produces a piercing feedback, causing the alien to crash out of the silo. Regan and Marcus crawl out of the silo and find a pickup truck. Lee has arrived and grabs an axe, but he is quickly attacked by the alien. Marcus screams, drawing the alien's attention toward the truck, which it starts tearing open. When Regan's processor produces the high-pitched feedback, she turns it off, allowing the alien to resume its attack. Lee, badly injured, sacrifices himself by letting out a yell to save the kids. They put the truck in neutral and roll it back to the house, where they reunite with their mother. Evelyn, Regan, and Marcus hear the alien approaching, so they retreat into the house and head down to the basement. Regan, who has never been allowed in the basement before, sees evidence of her father's efforts to repair and create her cochlear implant processor. Overwhelmed with emotion, the lights begin to flicker. The alien enters the basement and corners them. Regan scans her father's handwritten notes, which ask, what is their weakness? She then notices the hearing aids on his workbench. Realizing something, she switches on her cochlear implant processor, creating feedback that causes the alien to shudder. Regan amplifies the feedback by holding the processor up to a microphone. The alien collapses and struggles to regain its footing, but Evelyn grabs Lee's shotgun and blasts its head to pieces. Seeing on the surveillance monitors that this commotion has attracted more aliens to their home, Regan increases the volume on the speakers while Evelyn prepares the shotgun with a confident smile on her face. Remember to like this video, and subscribe to this channel for more movie recaps.